Hello friends and my lovely viewers. Welcome back to the channel of Neon Safe. Today we will check out our brand new Floralia champions. Let's get started.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. I'm tired of shit.
Our first thought when looking at this clan may be how much they resemble our Travaine champions. The colors, design, and weapons are almost identical, and I honestly feel like we have received an upgraded version of the Travaine clan. It is kinda weird, and we may not have a good first impression to be honest, but let us hope their skills and clan trait will justify it. Starting with our male Florelia, in his active skill he will shoot an arrow at the target which deals 4.8% of the target's max constitution per second. This has a limit of 2000% strength, and we additionally reduce the target's damage dealt by 16%. 41% of the target's lost constitution will be used to heal nearby allies for 5 seconds. If the target takes more than 40% of its own max constitution in damage during this period, then the effect will spread to nearby enemies, but they cannot spread the effect further. Quickly explained, we deal single target damage to one enemy, debuff the target's damage output and heal nearby allies. The damage we deal by using this skill is based on our target's max constitution. The healing effect is based on how much constitution our target loses. It may be kinda hard for us to buff up our damage with strength, since our skill isn't reliant on it. But I still believe we may want to boost up our strength a little bit, to ensure we increase the strength cap of this skill's damage output. Anyways, overall I am not very impressed with our male's active skill. It looks too simple, and it seems like our target will be randomly selected which may or may not benefit us in battle. It is a single target skill, our healing effect depends on how much damage we deal, and the skill's damage duration and spread effect is a little bit vaguely explained in the skill description. It looks like we may deal damage for 5 seconds since we heal allies for 5 seconds, but it isn't written clearly enough to conclude. So our active skill may not be the gem of this champion in particular, but let us check out his passive skill. Whenever allies are healed, our male Florelia will gain 2 stacks of Vita marks, and we have a cap of 10 stacks. When he takes damage, he will consume all his stacks to reduce damage taken by 9% per stack. If no stacks are present, the healing effects will be increased by 57%. When stacks reach the max, he will gain a 22% dodge bonus. Changes in stack count will immediately activate corresponding effects, but existing effects will persist for 6 seconds before expiring. So to break it down, we heal allies to gain 2 stacks of Vita. If we have no stacks, then our healing effect will increase. If we have the whole full 10 stacks, then we gain a dodge bonus. And whenever we take damage, we use up all our stacks to gain a form of damage reduction. Additionally, if we have no stacks at all, but then suddenly somehow gain all 10 stacks, then our healing effect buff will still be active for 6 seconds, while we immediately gain the dodge bonus. So it is possible for us to overlap the special bonuses if we are lucky or calculative. It may be hard to make the bonuses flow constantly, but it seems possible. Overall, I think this passive skill sounds kinda interesting. It may be very exciting to explore how we can get the most out of this skill, but I honestly think it could work really well in battle, if we make the special effects or bonuses overlap each other constantly. Perhaps placing another healer in the team could speed up his gain of Vita stacks. It is just a theory, but it would be nice to test it and see what happens. If it doesn't work in that way, we could instead use an energy regenerating trait to make him launch his skills more often. In that way, he would use the active skill's healing effect even more, and possibly reach the max 10 stacks in no time. When we hit 10 stacks, we receive the dodge bonus. And by placing him in the mid-row, or placements where he might take damage from time to time, he could use up all his Vita stacks. And with no stacks at all he gains the healing effect bonus. If we find the sweet spot of damage taken and healing effects, we could make our special effects overlap each other like mentioned. I can see potential in our passive skill, even though it may be hard to utilize the full potential of it. Let us move on to male Florelia's ultimate skill next. He will attack the target with an arrow and deal 793% strength-based damage. Our Florelia will then pull enemies towards the target's location in a circular area as a crowd-controlling effect. This control effect lasts for 4 seconds, and it also deals damage equal to 118% strength-based damage every 0.5 seconds to the controlled enemies. Their healing received will be reduced by 64%. For every constitution restored by controlled champions during this period, the control effect's duration will extend itself by 0.5 seconds, up to 4 seconds. So we deal damage to one enemy, pull the surrounding enemies towards the target and towards the middle of the field, while dealing 118% strength damage 8 times to them and debuffing their healing effects. When our controlled enemies do receive healing and gain constitution from it, that will increase the control effect's duration, aka it kinda backfires on the enemy. I feel like our ultimate skill looks quite promising. The control effect may be handy, especially since its duration can be extended and we will deal damage to the affected foes for each second that passes by. Our amount of strength will be important if we want to use the full potential of this ultimate skill. Male Florelia may function particularly well against enemy teams that have AoE-based healers. I believe so since we will debuff the opponent's healing effect by 64% and deal more damage from when the control duration extends itself. That being said, our male Floralia as a whole may not be so bad after all. We could have great use of him if we build him in the right way and place him against the right enemies. He may perform better against healers, and his battle placement can vary a lot since we have to find the right mix for our individual team comps. We may consider him to be a control effect and debuffing type of champ, rather than a typical DPS type. We can build him to function as a DPS as well, but for the time being he looks more like a CC champion and that may be the main advantage of our male Floralia. Let us move on to talk about our female Floralia next. In her active skill, she will launch 3 arrows at the nearest enemy which each deals 200% strength damage as well as true damage equal to 15% of the target's lost constitution. This has a limit of 2000% strength. The final arrow will explode upon hit, dealing 339% strength-based true damage to nearby enemies. It also reduces their healing received by 41% for 8 seconds. If our female Floralia is close to the target, each arrow will also knock back the enemy slightly. Simply explained, we will deal damage to one enemy multiple times, possibly knock back enemies slightly, and reduce the affected enemy's healing effect for some time. Our active skill sounds like a single target type of attack, where our closest enemy will be the victim. But the enemies that are near our victim are also in grave danger of being struck by the final explosion. We may benefit the most if our opponent's champions are clustered together in some sort of control effect. For instance, male Florelia's ultimate skill could be used to gather all the enemies into one spot, before we launch our female Florelia's active skill. That may ensure we damage as many enemies as possible in the explosion. We can of course use other control effect types of champions apart from our male Floralia. My point is just that using control effects before we launch this skill may be the best way to get the most out of it. The healing effect sounds like a plus point, but I am not so sure it will be the main benefactor of this skill. But overall, the female champion looks alright so far. Let's check out her passive skill. Whenever enemies are healed, she will gain 2 stacks of Vita Mark, up to 10 stacks. When dealing damage, she will consume 1 stack of Vita to inflict 75% strength-based true damage to the target. If our current stacks are equal to or less than 5, that means we will increase the damage our enemy takes by 13% for 5 seconds. If we have 6 or more Vita stacks, then our target's dodge will be reduced by 13% for 5 seconds. For every 10 stacks of Vita she consumes, she will gain a permanent shield equal to 1315% of her strength. Basically, we need the opponent to have an active healer in their team for this passive skill to work at all. That seems to be the only way we gain these Vita stacks. And when we deal damage, we use 1 stack to deal damage to our target. When we have 5 or less stacks of Vita, our opponent will take more damage than usual, and if we have 6 or more stacks, then the opponent will have a harder time dodging our attacks. And when we consume a total of 10 stacks in total, we gain a shield whose durability is based on our amount of strength. I hope we can understand this skill a little better now. Overall, I really like her skill, but I'm also concerned with her being so dependent on who the opponent is. Because if the opponent has no healer at all, then she won't gain any Vita stacks, and thus her passive won't benefit us as much. And the moment the healer dies, we would also not earn Vita stacks. She is completely and utterly built to oppose healer-based team comps, and those are the only type of team she can impact. So once all players figure out her big weakness, it will be really hard to beat opponents by having female Floralia in our team. These are just my own personal thoughts so far, so do let me know if you think differently of her. But for now, let us move on to her ultimate skill. She will consume 150 energy per shot to fire piercing arrows at the farthest enemy. This attack deals 197% strength-based true damage to the enemies along the path. Each shot will increase the damage bonus by 32% and the bonuses will last until the skill ends. I'm guessing the number of arrows may depend on our amount of energy. So if we have for instance 600 energy points, then we will shoot 4 arrows towards the farthest target. The enemies that are in the path of our arrow will also be struck by the same amount of damage our skill description mentions. And each shot turns out more and more powerful. We may be in desperate need of a trait to increase our energy for this skill to be useful, so we should keep that in mind when selecting traits. To be perfectly honest with you all, I do not think this ultimate skill seems impressive at all. It is very simple, and it may not turn out well in battle. We need to completely overload her with energy before activating the skill, and it is kinda stupid to depend on energy to this extent. The damage may not be very impressive, unless our energy is super high. The damage bonus may make it look more worth it, but I overall feel like this champion may not be the best option out there. Anyways, before we decide whether to summon for our Floralia champs or not, let us discuss their clan trait. Floralia's clan trait is called Healing Resonance, and at level 18 this is what it does. When we deal damage, the healing we receive from allies will increase by 18.8% for 6 seconds. It can stack up to 3 times, and each stack's duration is calculated independently. This clan trait is meant to support our healer-based team comps. So if we have a team of, for example, 3 DPS, 1 healer, and 1 tank, then we may want to place this clan trait onto one of our DPS champions, preferably the assassin, high attack speed and most squishy one, or the one our healer prioritizes. That allows the healing effect to amplify further, and thus it may help keep our DPS alive for longer. I feel like Floralia's clan trait may not be super ideal for our Floralia champions. And this is not a clan trait we can use on just any team comp we want, since we are required to have at least 1 healer in our team for it to work. Our clan trait and Floralia champions have opposite purposes, since our Floralia champs are reducing the enemy's healing effect, while the clan trait is boosting healing effects. And it makes everything feel kinda pointless in my opinion. We can aim for the clan trait and thus enhance our healer-based teams, but the opponent can acquire the Floralia clan, and thus nullify our effort altogether. It's a little bit difficult to explain my thought progress, but I hope it makes sense. To sum up everything, according to my own thoughts so far, I do not suggest aiming for this clan or clan trait. Nor male or female comes off as overly impressive in any way, and I feel like it may be a waste of resources. They look like Travaine clan copycats, and it gives a filler clan vibe, to be honest. This is completely my own opinion though, so if you really want to summon for our Floralia clan regardless, that is completely alright. It may be a challenge making these champions rule the battlefield, but for those who are up for it and who have the resources and motivation needed, you may go for it if you want to. This all being said and done, thank you for watching today's video. If you have any questions or thoughts you would like to share with us, feel free to comment below. To partake in our giveaways, subscribe to the channel. You may also leave a like or share the video with your friends if you feel like it. We highly appreciate your support and contribution. Have an amazing day, and we will see you in the next one. Take care, stay foxy, adios, bye.